Hi, and a very warm welcome to the Wellbeing channel. I'm Greg Parry, and I'm really glad you could join me. Let me ask you a question. What does success mean to you? What kind of images pop up into your mind when you flash up this word success? Because we live in a world where success is very much measured by financial metrics. We judge success in terms of material comfort. That's great. But a book was published some, 30 years ago now, which investigated success across the whole range of human experience. And they came to some surprising conclusions because when you include all the elements that could make life really successful, it wasn't just about money. But they discovered that only 4% of the tens of thousands of people who took part in the survey could honestly claim that they were successful in life. Does that surprise you? Now, the reason I mention it is because the principles that were discussed in that survey could be taught. In other words, the principles that gave that 4% of the surveyed population the feeling, the knowledge, the certainty, but their lives were successful in every respect you could possibly measure. Those principles could be applied to almost anyone. And so we know that if your sole criterion for success is money, there are very few people who would admit that that's the case, but it is how we judge so many situations in life, from business to how we live, where we live. You know what I'm talking about. The trappings of success are closely identified with the kind of role models we aspire to emulate. But I would suggest that whilst we have absolute respect for success in terms of material gain, wonderful, it's the other areas that tend to add depth and meaning to life, and it helps us to become more resilient in the face of setbacks. I've worked with people who've made and lost a fortune and then gotten on to make it again. It's normal in a business cycle. It does happen. But their resilience was based on a much broader set of values than just the amount of money they had or didn't have in their bank account. So I'm going to ask you to do something today to just see if you can broaden out to broaden out your definition of what success really means to you. Just a step beyond the narrow confines of perhaps your job title, your qualifications, your income, your material trappings and successes and comfort, and see if you can identify the important issues in addition to those main criteria. You might be surprised at what shows up on your personal list, but it's also an invitation for you to put a little bit of time and effort into those other areas so that your life becomes more balanced, has a greater value to you than just perhaps your career. It's an important consideration because if we get the other values right, guess what? It can have a very positive impact on your material success, on your career. It helps you to be more adaptable, more creative. It helps you to develop a really strong, resistant base against some of the challenges which we inevitably face. Success is not just for the 4%. It's something which we can all learn to incorporate into our lives, and not just in that narrow sense of material goods and gains. What do you think? I know it's a controversial subject, but then life is far more interesting than these very narrow definitions and limitations we sometimes use to label life in convenient terms. I'd love to know what you think. Feel free to get in touch. Contact me with your ideas, suggestions, and comments. I look forward to being back with you tomorrow, and I'm wishing you a wonderful day.